Hi everyone, welcome back to another interview from our Independent Thinking Online Children's Book Festival. I keep saying for 2021, but we've never done it before. Whether we'll do it again, I don't know, but I'm enjoying it. I get to speak to so many just mind-blowing authors with their books for children, about children, for parents, for teachers, and coming at things in all sorts of different ways. Everybody's got the child at heart. Everybody wants to make a difference. Everybody wants to help children, help adults, help children. And we come at things in so many different ways. And another way we're coming at things differently is with this beautiful book that arrived beautifully wrapped in tissue paper, and I'm still picking out dead birds every time I pick it up, every time I open it. But it's just beautiful, a beautiful, beautiful book called The Creative Songwriting Journal, A Journey of Self-Discovery and Creative Exploration by Sophie Garner. And I'm delighted to be joined by Sophie now. It looks like in her sort of creative studio, but I think it's just screens in a living room, but we'll find out.
I know it looks like wood that's dead, but I went for that look, okay? That was deliberate. I'm not living in a bed set with mouldy wood. I just have to make that clear. And also for anyone that's listening, no birds were harmed in the sending out of the book to Ian. They do come with paper birds. And that's just my little... I love stationery. I'm a stationery obsessive. If I turned the camera around now, you'd go, she needs help. I don't know what the word is for stationery obsessive, but I am it. Tiger, paper chase, you name it. It's just, I look like I have an issue.
a paperholic. Well, we'll find out about that. Actually, just tell us more about you. You look like you're in a shed, but that's good because you're creative. You can be wherever you want to be. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, who you are, where you are, what you do, what you've done, and then how you came to be writing this amazing little thing, and tell us a little bit more about it and how people are using it. So welcome.
Sure. Okay. I'll try and cram 27 years into a very tiny amount of time. So I left school at 16, having had the worst attendance in the entire school for 77 days, which really at the time wasn't anything to celebrate, but I was bunking off, had a fairly dysfunctional home life. And I found all of my focus and healing, for want of a better word, through poetry and songwriting, and I just let all of my emotions out into various journals, and in that way I was able to express myself and my feelings, but in a personal way. Nobody would see it. It was safe. I could say exactly what I wanted. Nobody would read it. It was hidden, but it made it real because I got it out of me. And I'm a great believer in when you tell someone something, it becomes real. Whether that's, I don't know, a child saying I've been self-harming, or an adult saying, you know, I've been having an affair, or I've got cancer, it's then real. You've actually put it out there. And I then decided that I wanted to be a singer. And I told the school that. I said, I'm going to be a professional singer. And they went, at the careers advice meeting, what are you going to do for a proper job, Sophie? In a very condescending, patronizing way. And I went, I'm going to be a singer and an actress. And 15 years later, I went back. My then teacher had become head, and I went to the school, and it was so lovely. I went in, and at the time when I was at school, you just rocked up, you know, there was no safeguarding. Anyone could just walk into the school.
And I did.
Now there's like a buzzer system, you know, it's like breaking into a bank. And so they went, can I help you? And I said, I'm the girl from class 89. And I said, and I'd really like to know if any of the following teachers are here. And she went, yep, she's head. Yep, he's retiring today. I mean, you can't write this stuff. It was almost like it was meant to be. And she said, who shall I say called? And I went, I don't want you to tell her. I said, just say the punk from 1989 is here. She put it on speakerphone, and Mrs. Tyers went, Sophie Garner. She came downstairs. We just wept. And I went, and I said to her, I'm so sorry, Mrs. Tyers. She went, call me Jane. I went, I'm so sorry for being such a rascal and causing you so much hassle. She went, Sophie, we all knew you'd make it. You just had a really terrible time. She took me around the school. I went and sat in my original seat. It was so cathartic. But anyway, cut forward, that really gave me the grounding for being able to express myself on stage, being a fantastic communicator, which is one of my greatest skills. I was rubbish at maths and everything else, but when you're on stage as a singer, you've got to communicate. It's a relationship. I call it passing the ball. If you've got a ball and you're hanging on to it, and you're out at lunch with a friend and you don't throw it to them, there's not going to be any chatter. There's going to be no dynamic. So I learnt my craft, became a professional singer, toured the world, released 4 albums. I was the first artist on the main stage at London's O2 Arena, beat Bon Jovi by a week. Take that, Bon Jovi. And then I had a vocal op. Had to I suffered with acid reflux, and I had to basically learn to sing again. And it was right in the middle of a solo album release, for which at the time £50,000 of my partner and my money went into that. It was either buy a house or invest in an album. We chose the artistic route, not the sensible route. And right in the middle of this, and I was billed for BBC Two radio, it was all happening. I had top line management. And then this vocal op happened, and I waved goodbye to everything. And I was very bitter, twisted, and angry for some years, as you can imagine. And because my career just stopped overnight, plus losing my identity as a singer, because as any musician will tell you, your identity, it's you. It's not an external instrument like this piano here. You know, it's in you. Your whole body is your instrument from a cellular level and how you feel. So I then found this teaching road just suddenly sort of came to me, and I took it on. I thought, well, you know, I don't know if I could teach, because singing doesn't necessarily mean you can teach, and some teachers don't sing, they don't come together, they're very separate things. And I ended up in a primary school, and that was an academy. And I'm glad that I started with that, because I was faced with just children that were literally, I mean, they were coming to school unwashed. Some of them were in the process of being adopted and fostered. So I came into teaching at kind of like the worst possible environment. And it was great, because from then on, I was able to deal with anything. And the next school I went to was like, gosh, there's no statemented children, you know, on the first week or so. And then they started giving me these children because they knew that I could cope with it. And I basically unknowingly was writing this book, because everything that I was doing, which some of what I do is very spontaneous because I'm very child-led. I'll be in the classroom and a child will say something, and then the lesson plan and the lesson objective goes out the window, because it's about them. And I think any teacher that's worth their weight in gold has got to be able to just live in the moment and improvise in the moment. And it goes back to being on stage again. I'm constantly reading my audience, which in a school is 30 plus kids. So that was wonderful. And I've taught them secondary, primary. I've taught in special education schools where children have been permanently excluded, and you know, you're turning up and there's holes in the wall, and I'm not going to use the expletives, but you're met with, and I know within 8 weeks it's going to be, oh, we're loving what you're doing, and that's the payoff. That's the payoff, and you just run with it. But the other very special thing about this book, apart from the fact that I'm wrapped up in it, and my younger Sophie, the child me, and the kids, the real work happened. Gosh, it was about 8 years ago. So this book has been writing itself all the time, really. A senior student came to me. She was a private student, and it's important I say that because of where we are with GDPR. She came to me, and I've been teaching her for about 3 months, but because I work quite empathetically, have I even said that right, Ian?
You have. You got there in the end.
Empathetic. I told you, 77 days missed at school. What are you going to expect from me? Thank goodness for people that check the spelling. Hey, my goodness. She came to me, she walked in the door, and I just instantly went, Hannah, what's going on? I didn't even say, are you okay? She just bawled her eyes out. She went, I tried to commit suicide. And the room just span, and I thought, my goodness, how do I deal with this? What do I do with this information? She went, I'm not going to tell my mum and dad, so please don't ask me to. You're the only person I'm going to tell. Well, I mean, the weight of that and the fear of that. And I said, well, please, can I tell my partner? Because I need to be able to make this real, if you get what I mean, going back to what we said earlier about telling somebody and then it's real. So I said, right, okay. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm going to have to deal with this. I don't know how. and I basically flew by the seat of my pants, and I was winging it. Now, for me, winging it is using all my skills to do exactly what I do. So I wasn't winging it, if you get what I mean. I was just basically being in the moment and going, I've got to just draw in all my resources, which I did. And I dedicate an acknowledgement to her by her first name. She knows about the book. When I finished my MA in 2019, which was with Trinity St David, Wales, University of Wales, she agreed to be my case study for my first assignment, which was where I basically polarized everything and created what is going to be a workshop and teacher training for teachers. So that's that. My dream, Ian, is for every primary school in the country to have this, you know, and I never thought I'd write this in lockdown. So anything's possible.
Sophie, that girl, that story, that powerful story. How did music? How did the songwriting? Because it's more than just playing music. It's a whole creative process. And reading the book, you can work through all the different activities and ideas in there, and just turn it into a creative writing exercise. It doesn't have to be anything about singing or performance at the end.
Absolutely,
it's a good literacy tool. So what did you do with her, and how did she benefit from that process that you shared with her?
So if you've looked at the story, you've seen the process with the 5 W's: who, when, why, what, where, and the mind mapping. All children know how to use mind mapping. It's used in schools left, right, and centre. So I amalgamated all these different things and took her through. So, for instance, just a quick kind of run through with what I would do. And some of it is so, you know, on the face of it, you go, well, yeah, of course, why wouldn't you do it like that? But there's various other things, and there's exercises and mindfulness tools to get children into the zone and get them forming their own identity and thinking about music. And I draw on things like BBC4 Desert Island Discs, and I have something called Castaway, where I get children thinking about what they do. And I do that in my own private tuition anyway. So I'm just putting into the book everything I do. So I, with her, started off by saying, right, I want you to take one word. So let's take strength, because I tried to think of words that were associated with what may be going on. So she was self-harming. So something around that may have been strength or fear or bravery. So I tried to pick something that was a positive word, but knowing instinctively that she was needing more strength. Anyway, she was being bullied. She couldn't go to the school. Nothing was happening. So I basically said, right, I want you to put strength in the middle of the circle. And from that, then I would set her really quick tasks. So for 30 seconds, she would have to write everything down that strength meant to her. Then from that, we started to create sentences around it. Then we started using GarageBand, and we'd put harmonies on. She started off with an empty journal, which basically got 3/4 full within 6 months. She was just overloaded with ideas, and through it, she worked through it. And here was me looking at my younger self in her doing exactly the same thing. So that was an extremely powerful thing. And she says to me now, I've still kept the book. You know,
I can see with a mind map, I can see how because it's infinite. You've got the starting point, strength, and then you can just go and go and go. It doesn't close you down, it opens you up. And if you're in a part of your life where you're feeling closed or feeling stuck, it's going in the completely opposite direction, where you can always add. So you're always growing and developing through a simple tool like the mind map, which I do wish more schools, it got a bit of a bad. A lot of people decided that's not appropriate, and we need to get children to write properly and write in sentences. So mind mapping then became sort of the thing not to do. But I love it. It's helped me. It's helped. There's a lorry going by. It's helped so many young people that I've worked with, that process of mind mapping, and the way you do it.
Just still use it. You know, businesses are trained to use mind mapping. I mean, I don't really agree with it being on a computer, because I've also, within my MA, I did research into the power of the pen.
I was going to ask you to talk about that, because that's at a time where we're going, oh no, everything online, the paperless, we need to give kids laptop and everything, and we're all for technology.
Bring out the pens.
There we go. You're saying we've got to, the creative process is released and enhanced by the actual process of writing with a pen on paper, on nice paper. And hopefully, and I hope you'll agree with me, notebooks should never have lines in them. They should all be burnt. They need to be plain paper in a nice notebook. So many I've picked up, you open it up and it's got lines. You think, no, that's going.
Yeah, because again, it's tying you into a box, and you really nailed it there, Ian, with a mind map, because it's circular and it's flowing. It doesn't stop you from being expressive, and I would have like big giant pieces of mind map, so whole classes would then be involved around this one circular subject that they can go out from, and then it becomes a really inclusive project, as opposed to here I am with my lines and no, you can't come in because the line finishes there, and it just creates roadblocks. So paper and pen, I mean, there was a study, I think it was in America. They took a class of graduates and they separated them and they set them a test, and one half, you know where this is going, one half did it on paper and one half did it online, and they looked at who did the best. The pen is mightier than the keyboard, Ian.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I have notebooks all the time and I still use them, and it's a different process. We're running out of time and I could talk to you forever.
Oh my goodness, are we? I haven't even got started.
3 minutes. Bloopers. Tell us about beautiful bloopers.
Oh, beautiful bloopers. So there are no mistakes. There are only beautiful bloopers. So in my book, I basically, it's like I love affirmation. So I was brought up by a mother that was a pagan. So spirituality came into my life at a very young age and has been a big part of my life. So I asked the children to repeat this affirmation: there are no mistakes, only beautiful bloopers. There aren't, and 3 times, because with affirmations, 3 times kind of then starts to tell the brain, I need to listen. I think mistakes is a really loaded and negative word, because it suggests it's wrong, you're bad, it's just a mess up. Oops, you didn't mean to drop the T. And I make all the people that I teach, even if they cross something out, they keep it, because you never know when you might want to go back. I mean, if you look at some of like David Bowie's, I've got an amazing book from the V&A on the god that is David Bowie, and there's some lyrics inside. Are you agreeing with me?
No.
Oh my god, that is David Bowie. And in it there are lyrics, and he's crossed them out, and I show this to students to say, look, it's okay, because you never know when you might want to use them. And it also tracks your journey. You go, oh, I crossed that out because I didn't want to use that, and you look at where you've come from, so nothing is ever wasted. So they ain't mistakes, they're beautiful bloopers.
And that ties in with the writing rather than the typing, because I think you say in the book as well, when you type it, you can then delete, and all you ever presented is like the finished product, and you don't see that process of iteration and change and growth and development. Whereas you look at a manuscript by any great artist in any field of art, and it's full of scribbles.
Yeah, and that's the thing that people want to buy when they go and bid on eBay. They want that real, raw journey. It's organic, and you see their head and how it's processed. It's brilliant.
And encouraging schools to put that process on the wall, rather than just putting finished, proper 10 out of 10 work on the walls. Put all the development of a finished piece on the wall as well. Reinforcing that. Yeah. So we've done a deal with the Roving Bookshop for this Independent Thinking Book Festival with the Sue Atkins book club. So people can, I think, get your book from them. The link's on our website. But how can people get hold of you and your work, Sophie? You're on social media?
Yeah, so they can follow me on Facebook, which is Sophie Garner Author. If they want to email me directly on my personal website, that's sophiegarner.com, or the Creative Songwriting Journal.co.uk.
Brilliant. And are your before your throat problems, your early recording work, is that out there? Are you on Spotify?
I am. Spotify, Deezer, iTunes. So my solo album was Genes, Genes.
Okay, and that was under your name. That was under Sophie. Yeah. Okay. So people listen on Spotify, and you get like a penny, don't you, for each time it gets played? Or
I think it's 0.0.1, something like that.
All right. Well, I'll track it down. I'll just put it on repeat and leave it overnight, and it'll help you get out of your shed. Get a new lick of paint.
Let me out.
It's great to speak to you and hear your story. And it's always, so many of the authors have been inspiring. The story within the story is incredibly powerful, but also you're living it and breathing it. And that creative songwriting journal, I can just see children doing it. And forget the music, forget the songwriting. It's about confidence and bringing themselves out and what they're capable of. And that infinite, like we talked about with the mind map, that infinite, I can go anywhere, I can do anything.
Totally. It could just be like a family tree. There's no, because our mind is infinite, and why box a child in? And especially after, the last year and a half, my goodness, they've been literally boxed in. And it's about identity. It's about discovering who you are. And kids don't always have the language to tell a parent how they feel. And so to be able to write it down and go, this is mine, it's like, that's such a powerful thing. Such a powerful thing.
And you talk about winging it, which probably explains why there are so many dead birds in every time you open a book. You just get covered in these things. It's because you wing it. I get it now.
So they all come. They come in every book, and I just sit here and hole punch them. And I have to tell you, I'm sad because I enjoy doing it. It's stationery.
On that note, Sophie, thank you ever so much. Thank you. Good luck.
So much, Ian.
That's all right. Okay, see you soon. Thank you. Bye.